So you see the title of the video. I used to be a conservative and I didn't even know it. I've only recently come to this conclusion because I've only recently even knew what a conservative is. I didn't get politically activated until about 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. Previously, my attitude was just politics in this country was just pretty much toxic, which is not that different than the way I look at politics now, ironically. But anyway, I wasn't really paying attention. I just thought it was all nonsense. I looked at the news media as just fear-mongering. Think about this. We're talking about 1995 to 2000, those times. That's the way I looked at the media. Sounds a lot like the way I look at the media now. Sounds a lot like the way the media is now. So a lot of the stuff is not even new, right? So as a person who didn't know what the word liberal meant, what the word conservative meant, I couldn't name you a single, and no exaggeration, literally a single Democrat or a single Republican. I had no idea who the players were. All I would know is who the president was, at least. Probably wouldn't even know who the president was running against because I definitely wasn't voting. I was totally disconnected from American politics because I saw it all as a big joke. I saw a lot of the American people as just kind of, not much of a contrast to now, but a little bit of emotional people that are just kind of going along, a bunch of lemmings, lack of critical thinking and, just going along with the program and not really understanding what they're really going along with. That's the way I looked at it. So I just completely disconnected. That was what was going on. So in the moment, again, not knowing what conservatism was, I wasn't able to recognize my conservative views of the world. But now that I'm deeply involved in politics, not only online, but in my real life, because, this is not just content for me. I'm not here trying to get clicks and whatever. I actually do care about what's happening in the country. I care about what's happening in my community. So I've spoken at many city hall events. I've been going to war with my local mayor. I've been organizing, and not in a let me just join some kind of a tribe. My mentality is just, I see what's wrong and I'm trying to, do my best to make things better. I recognize that there are tribes involved. There are tribes that are more negative focused in terms of really hurting things. And there's tribes that seem to want to help things, but they're a tribe and they're in a little bubble. So some of the stuff they're doing, there's a lot of gaps and issues there. And I'm trying to work with those people. But ultimately, now that I'm involved, I can retroactively look back and, I don't know if that's the correct word to use in this case, but anyway, I can look back and recognize that I basically was a conservative as a young person. And as a result, even though officially not, because again, I wasn't politically involved, it was just ideologically, conservative values, family values, like, let me give you some example. Let me let you know what I'm talking about. I think it's better for me to articulate what that means. What was conservative about me exactly? What am I looking back upon and saying, hey, I was a little bit of a conservative? Okay, I was a guy that all the way up mid-20s, maybe even getting up to upper 20s, anytime I flew, I was suited up. I'm no lie. Two-piece suit, dressed like I'm going on a job interview or something. That's an old school thing, right? And that to me is also part of conservatism, right? You're gonna fly, you're gonna dress up, you know what I mean? It's this sort of, I don't know what the word is, dignity and respect and, values and whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I'll get more into that. But so there's things like that. And also, I would go to work and everyone was on a first name basis. And I'm like, listen, man, first name is for friends, right? We are not friends. We're coworkers. And more so, the, customers, these are not your friends, right? So when I talk to customers, it's Mr., Miss, Mrs., Ms., whatever, right? And I would refer to my coworkers as Mr. and Mrs. So that is me, dorky, 23-year-old conservative that didn't really realize that he was a conservative, right? So I want to refer to my coworkers as Mr. I remember my coworkers would be like, don't call me Mr. I don't know what the expression they would use. They all had a similar type of rebuttal to why they don't want to be called Mr. But anyway, that was me, right? I was working at 23 years old or so, major corporate environment, right? Everybody's got two-piece suits on. We got our wingtips on, right? Got your fancy ties. Unfortunately, Trump ties. That's one good thing about Trump. He makes really good ties. I was a big fan of Trump ties, I'll tell you that much. Trump, not so much. I didn't really know much about Trump, so I didn't really have a big opinion on him. Just seemed kind of weird, eccentric type of guy. But my focus was I liked his ties. And I did like the image that he presented in terms of like the Trump hotels and also even his golf clubs. I actually went to a charity event. Me and some friends did a charity event. It was automotive related. I'm really into automotive. And we actually concluded the event at one of the Trump resorts. And I loved that, man. I mean, I remember when we went to the resort, they were, first of all, interestingly enough, we rolled up at this resort where it's like $30,000 membership fees or something crazy like that. And we were, everyone was looking at us because we rolled up with some really nice cars as opposed to the actual members who were driving more normal cars. And I think this is because a dealer they probably were participating with our event. I wasn't involved in the organizing, but this is probably organized. But I remember right in front of the entrance, there were like all these nice cars like Bentleys, and I think there was also a Rolls Royce there as well. So I don't know what that was all about, but I really think that was a marketing thing, that some dealers were showing off their cars because we had some very wealthy people at our event. So I was also very antagonistic to what I thought was, evil in this country and people that are going against God. Even as in 20s, I wasn't really, my religious time was really more when I was much younger, maybe late teens. I think in my 20s, at that point, I wasn't religious. So I might be mixing some of my 18-year-old, 19-year-old views. Yeah, I'm mixing up my 16 to 19-year-old views. That's when I was more in the religious front. So that would be the time I'm looking at people as going against God, and things happening bad in the country was the fault of people, all the evil in this country, right? And, I'm looking at the music that people are listening to and over-sexualization and, does this sound familiar? Right? That was the kind of stuff that I was thinking about. Right. And I looked at also the way people dress was a big deal. Women should not wear pants. That was me at that young age. I would say, I don't know, up until maybe 19, 20. I think as I got into adulthood, that faded away pretty quickly. But I looked down upon women who wear pants are for men. Women should wear skirts. Why are women wearing pants? And I also felt like there's a lack of respect. Cursing, I was big against cursing. I think that went maybe mid-20s to upper 20s. I didn't drink, so no alcohol, no recreational drugs at all. Let's put it that way. So that includes alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, none of that stuff for me. I still don't do any recreational drugs except for alcohol. But yeah, so against drugs, against cursing, I did not curse. I really was bothered by people who curse. And you see, notice the difference in my conservatism, right? When I was a conservative, I was serious about it, right? I wasn't just sitting there. I was judging people for sure, but I wasn't sitting there just judging people and like, you were evil and you're satanic or whatever. I was down for the cause. So meaning I was trying to be as pure as possible. I legitimately did not lie at my expense. I suffered consequences from situations where I could have there wasn't really any evidence. I could have lied my way out of it easily. But instead of lying, I chose the, integrity and, basically ratted out myself and said that, yeah, I did it. I'm sorry, whatever. I did that multiple times. So impeccable honesty, real serious dedication to, having character, you know what I mean? Like I said, dressing well. And also, I forgot to mention, in a corporate environment where everyone's dressing suit and ties, I was dressed more fancy than everybody else. I'm just always all in. Whenever I'm doing it, right? So if I'm going to be professional, I'm going to, present this image or whatever, I'm going to go all in. So I was the 3-piece suit guy in the office where people were wearing 2-piece suits. So I had the vest, the jacket, the fancy Trump ties, clean cut all the time. When everybody leaves the work to go to the bar, I'm still in the office doing 17, 18-hour days. So the hustle bro, before hustle bro was a thing, right? I was hustle bro before hustle bro was a thing. None of these guys existed back then when I was on my grind, right? Working my ass off, watching my family grow old and not spending as much time as I should have with them, my aunts and uncles, some of who have died since then. This is part of it. I guess I got too hustle bro. That conflicted with the other part because, I was definitely looking for, here's another thing. I was a sex before marriage guy. I mean, that broke with my post-high school relationship. That didn't last very long. But even after that, when I was dating, 22, 23, even though I very, very strongly desired to have as much sex as one could possibly have, I had no interest in having sex with someone that I was not in a committed relationship with. So I already started a departure from the hardcore Christianity thing. So I broke with the sex before marriage. I was okay with sex before marriage, but I did the next best thing, which is no sex before commitment. So definitely not a one-night stand. And I could be dating someone super, I remember, man, back then, oh my goodness, it wasn't like it is now. That was the beginning of the online dating, from the phone dating and all that kind of stuff, where you leave voice messages and you listen to messages and then you respond with voice message. I mean, that was like so archaic, but this was early in that stuff. So back then, man, it was so easy to meet. And also I was younger, right? So it's a different demographic, but it was easy to meet women, and man, I still remember some of the women I met. And this is how hardcore. So I can understand conservatives today in many different aspects, because I was very conservative. So I can understand, for example, someone who was a super horny guy who had the ability to have access to very attractive women and yet turned down more than a few because I was looking for, I'll crudely describe, a church woman. So, I didn't like women who cursed. So women who cursed, that was a turnoff. I didn't like women who drink. So if you drank, that was a turnoff. And if I looked at you as like just having fun and you're not serious, I'm definitely, well, I would love to have sex with them, but it's not happening. And there were multiple incidents where I was in a situation where I had to be the reverse of blue balls, I guess, or whatever, where the woman was like trying to do something, and I was like, I don't know whatever excuse I made for them, but I was all ready to go for anyone that I saw as, as conservative as I was, and was looking for something serious. But everybody else, I don't care how big your boobs are, or what your butt looks like, or how turned on I am, it's not happening. Think about the dedication to ideology to be like that. But that was me, the young conservative who didn't even know I was conservative, right? So, but again, I was the real deal, right? When you look at people like Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, these guys, these are not conservatives, these are anti-liberals, right? Are these guys, like, look at Officer Tatum, right? Filthy guy, tattoos all over his hand, swearing all over the place. I mean, acting like a thug. Meanwhile, he's making videos talking about people that are a thug. And we saw how he gets down, right? And these guys, they lie. You think they're all uptight like I was, like truly down for the cause. No alcohol, no whatever. Ironically, I think Trump is one of the few people that I guess we have that in common, because he apparently doesn't drink, I guess. But all the rest of these people, I'm sure they do all this stuff, man. From lying, cheating, stealing, drug use, whether legal or illegal. There's even homosexuality, right? You even have some of these guys that are involved in trans stuff. I remember one that admitted that he had sex with a trans person. We had, Matt Walsh that did a video portraying like homosexual sex. I mean, just like the conservative movement today represents the kind of people that me as a conservative was against. When I was a conservative and I was looking at the evil people, right? These evil people who are betraying God and don't have any morals and don't have any values and are just decrepit. That's the American conservative movement, right? That's not saying that if you're conservative that you are this evil person or whatever, but the conservative movement is certainly evil. The conservative movement is certainly one being led by essentially the Antichrist, right? Donald Trump. This is written about in the Bible. Somebody like Donald Trump is written about in the very Bible, right? So this is like an Antichrist movement, to speak in conservative terms. So again, the very people that I was against because of their lack of morality and character and whatever, that is the American conservative movement. Now, there's certainly a lot of that same stuff within the liberal side or the left side, for sure. Stuff that I would have been against back when I was a young conservative and didn't know it. But the difference is the left is more honest in this regard. They're not the ones going around, thumping their Bibles and, looking down on others for their values, and you don't respect human values, and you're satanic and you're evil. They're not the ones that are doing that. It is the conservative movement. It's just like masculinity. I mean, I look at a lot of these left-wing hosts. These guys, I don't look at them as very strong men, right? But they appear to be more masculine than the conservative hosts, in my view. But also, they're not the ones going around talking about like we're masculine and there's an issue with masculinity. They just be themselves, right? One of them is not one of them, but I know one of them that I watch. I guess he's gay, and he's upfront with it. He's like, okay, I'm a gay guy, right? Meanwhile, Jesse Lee Peterson is going around attacking people for being gay. Meanwhile, he's closet gay, right? That's it. And this is a classic example of the difference between the left wing and right wing media, right? A gay guy, overtly gay, admittedly gay, on his show, this is me, this is who I am, take me or leave me. Meanwhile, conservative media, a gay guy pretending to not be gay and attacking gay people. Like, what? Anyway, just thought I would share that with you guys. The fact that I used to be conservative, but I am no longer. I still hold a lot of the foundational values. I wouldn't say I am a Jesus type level person when it comes to honesty, but by today's standard, pretty damn close. So in terms of back then, I literally would not lie. I would probably go to jail just off of not lying, not being willing to lie. I probably wouldn't do something that would put me in jail, but if the situation came up, I would rat myself out rather than like lie. That's how hardcore I was with that stuff. Now, it would be rare that I would lie, but ultimately, if it came down to survival, like let's say I did something wrong, like let's say I was going too fast on a highway, for example, and I'm risking going to jail. If me simply making up a story that it wasn't me or whatever gets me out of that, I'm sorry, but I would have to. But if I'm in a relationship with someone and they ask me something, I'm going to tell them the truth even if it hurts me. I mean, I've even done that. Possibly the reason why I'm single is because of that. Simply was asked a question about my views on marriage and I was very honest about it, knowing the risks. So that integrity is still there. I still, especially compared to what is the norm today, I'm certainly much more honest than average. Not even close when it compares to people in the media, whether it's left wing or right wing, especially right wing. Not even close, right? They are just so dishonest. So they're not even in the same category. But for normal people who are not in the media, who are generally honest, I would probably be, pretty high up in that regard, because again, generally speaking, I'm not going to lie unless the risk of not lying is pretty severe, right? So anyway, that's all I wanted to share. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And it was kind of a random video. I don't know if it was a little bit directionless, but I thought it was interesting to share with you guys. Hopefully you find it interesting. And if you do, comment below. If you don't, comment below. And click on that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And until next time. Let me go see why my car is making this ticking noise.